2018 number 2 part B. We have a vertical column of water with cross-section constant area 3 square meters, and to the nearest million, how many plankton cells between h equals 0 and h equals 30? So if it weren't for this 3 square meters, we could just do the integral of p of h. We have like a cross-sectional area of 1 square meter, and then we just we're going from 0 to 30, and we're imagining that we have a column of water, and since this function gives the density of plankton in here, the integral of that function will give the total number of plankton. So the kicker is that we have 3 square meter cross-section. That just means that this thing is 3 times as wide, and so we're going to have 3 times as many plankton. If we, basically we're going to do 3 columns. Right? So we just have 3 times as many plankton as we would have otherwise. So we can just do the integral and multiply it by 3. So we're going to say that the number of plankton, I used capital P to stand for the number of plankton. So you notice, like, I make up these functions all the time. If I don't have a function that describes what they're describing, I'll just make up a function for it. So they want to know how many plankton cells. They don't have a function that gives me how many plankton cells. They only give me the density of the plankton cells. So the the capital P will stand for the number of plankton at a depth of 30 meters. It's going to be equal to 3 times the integral from 0 to 30 of our function small p of h, which gives the density. Right? So I just take this function, integrate it, and multiply by 3, and that multiplying by 3 is going to account for the 3 square meters, and the integral from 0 to 30 is going to tell me how many plankton with that particular density that they gave me. So I still have that function in my y window. So all I have to do is go 3 times the integral, which is math 9, from 0 to 30 of my function, which I get by doing vars, y vars, enter, enter. There's my function, dx, enter, and I get 1675. Let's look at what they told us about rounding. It says to the nearest million. To the nearest million. So I'm going to take, these are millions of cells, so I'm going to round it off to the nearest whole number. So I'll put approximately equal to here, 1675. Let's make sure we put in million cells, because this is in millions of cells. And that pretty much answers that question, right? How many plankton cells are in the column of water? 1675 million cells.